Yo, welcome back to the Life Podcast. I'm Triple D, and here we talk life. And when I say life, we talk about everything: relationships, fun, anything and everything. So today's episode, we're gonna talk about something that I didn't get the opportunity to elaborate on in the past. I talked about it in the last podcast. I touched on it really quick, but the question is, if one person in a relationship is the breadwinner. When I say breadwinner, I mean bringing most of the money. What is the expectation of the other person in a relationship? So to ask that again, if one person in a relationship brings in all of the money or majority of the money or is the breadwinner, what's the expectation of the other person? Let's get right into it, y'all. So in most of my podcasts, you will notice that I wear different types of shirts. Each one of these shirts have a true meaning. This one that I have on today, Nope, I'm Not Giving In, was inspired by Rosa Parks. Basically, as we should be in life. When you're in life, as you go through life, you begin to understand yourself and you begin to understand what your values are. And when you understand what your values are, you never allow anyone else's values to stop you from acting or making choices that are strictly from your values. So when I say nope, I'm not giving in, I'm not trying to be rebellious. I'm not trying to be, crazy. I'm not trying to start a boycott. It's just telling everyone that, I know who I am. I'm comfortable with myself. And I'm not going to give in to who you are, regardless of how cool you think you are or how lame you think I am. If more of us do that in life would be such a better place. It's not up to us to act like somebody else. It's up to us to be ourselves. So, nope, I'm not giving in basically mean that. And if you'd like to get one of these shirts, just hit your boy up because, as you all know, I make them. Before we jump into our main topic, there's a couple things that I really want to talk about. Number one, these dang on NBA Finals. As everyone know, I'm a Steph Curry fan, meaning I'm a Golden State Warriors fan. I hate LeBron James. I'm going to say that every podcast because I hate LeBron James. As a player, not as a person. I hate the way he cries. I just hate, I hate him. I just hate him. So I hate the way that these playoffs is going. I hate the fact that we're down 3-1. But I think we have a great opportunity to come back and most likely win the series. I think it's going to go to a 7-game series because the next game is at Golden State, meaning they're probably saying we're not going to lose at home. Then they're going to go back to LA, which is an odd number game. And as we all know, it's going to be an even number game. As we all know, Anthony Davis doesn't play well in even number games. And then they're going to go back game 7 in Golden State. And Golden State is not going to lose at home in a game 7. So I think it's going to come back to a game 7 and Golden State's going to win. Mark my words. I know everybody's looking at me, they're probably thinking I'm crazy, but Golden State in 7, all right? That comes straight from Triple D. The next thing I have to talk about is I've been watching a lot of videos, and I think there's a lot of issues with people not understanding emotional intelligence. What I mean by that is us, and I say us, I mean us as a community, black people. I think sometimes we tend, I'm not gonna say it's our fault, but people don't understand us because a lot of us talk loud. A lot of us just, we just explain stuff. We use a lot of body language, and people think that's being aggressive, and really we're just trying to get our point across. But I think what's going on is that people aren't, one, getting the opportunity to understand how we are, and number two, us as a people, we're probably not getting the opportunity to learn about ourselves and how we can react better in certain situations. Meaning, I've always been taught that you may not be able to change what happens, but you can always change the outcome. Meaning, and when I say you can change the outcome, I mean however you react to whatever happens always alters the outcome. Sometimes the outcome may not be what you think it is, but just calming it down, slimming it down just a little bit, lowering your voice, trying to not be as loud, as aggressive. And when I say aggressive, I know you're not all the time. We're not trying to be confrontational, but sometimes the way that we explain things or the way that we go at people can be a little confrontational. We can come in like loud and cussing and all that stuff. cuss words, man, like those things can make anybody agitated. So I think there's two aspects to it. I'm not gonna blame it on all of us because it's just our culture. We're loud. We're loud. The Spanish culture is loud, and then a lot of other cultures they get intimidated by it, and they use that for a reason why they're doing certain things because they're scared of us. But if we understand, okay, I'm in a certain situation, let me kind of lower my voice. Let me not use as much profanity and not try to put fear in someone. Then I think it'll be a better outcome. That's just my take on it. Things that I've noticed where I thought maybe there could be a different outcome. I know that I've watched videos that I've seen several times and I know the outcome. Similar to when you watch a movie and like I used to watch Cool Running all the time, right? And I used to always want it to change. Like that last time that the Jamaican bobsled team, their sled turned over, I would always hope something would change so that it wouldn't happen in the movie, even though I've watched the movie 20 times. Same thing with real life situations. I watch like traffic stops and things like that, and I always wonder what would happen if the person would tone their voice down, minimize the cursing, and just not comply, but just try to explain themselves a little more articulate. I'm not saying it's going to change because, a bad cop is a bad cop or a bad person is a bad person, but I wonder would that situation flip if any of that changed. All we can control is ourselves. We gotta do a better job doing that. We gotta take the responsibility, and that's my take on that, y'all. So I want to say this ahead of time. I just had a long conversation about breadwinners and expectations of others, and the video will cut out in the middle of the conversation, but I'm gonna keep the audio. But with that, we're going to talk about, that conversation led to one of the other questions that I did ask on Facebook. And it's for you ladies. If you are the breadwinner, how long do you wait before you replace your guy? And some of the answers are hilarious on this one. I think one of the funniest ones was Treva. And I know Treva because we're about the same age, we're from the same area. She said, at the very instance I realized I'm the breadwinner, unless he is working to match me or pass me, which basically says she want to make sure that her man is working to match her or pass her, which makes sense. Tanya said, I have been the breadwinner. For me, that's not the reason for replacement. I just want physical and emotional support, and he's good with me. I like that. I like that response. That's a very mature response. Lex said, truth, he gets a year. She's gonna get a guy a year before she get rid of him. So she said he gets a year. In that year, we focus on sending him to school or learning a trade. Sometimes you have to build a man to your expectations. You have to build a person to your expectations. But because this is direct to the ladies, I truly agree. Nothing wrong with being the breadwinner, but trust and believe the relationship will not last long if that man ain't putting in no effort to do better. Everyone is replaceable. I guess that's true. Shamika Schofield said she was the breadwinner until she stuck with him until he cheated. So I guess, fellas, if you're not the breadwinner, fellas, why you out there cheating? You should be focused on doing whatever it takes to bring some money in the house. You shouldn't be cheating. So Tree said, is he just not motivated and land up or fell off? I have questions because being a breadwinner to a man or a woman who can in these times is unheard of. Who's taking care of a grown person capable of getting bread but won't. A breadwinner and a loser ain't it, but a breadwinner and a person adding, not subtracting, is different, which makes sense. And Marquita said, you don't. If you're a decent human being, a trying man is everything. And someone responded and said, as long as he is trying, this one here for me. So there was a lot of responses. Some people say they won't get rid of their man if they're the breadwinner. And some of them said that if they're the breadwinner and the man sitting on his butt being lazy, they're gonna get rid of him. So men, you know what that means? We cannot be sitting on our butts being lazy because our women make all the money. We got to do something. You got to get your little job. You got to put on like that, clean up the house. You got to make her feel special. And then you got to go. I believe if I had a woman that was if my woman was a breadwinner, man, I'm gonna make her feel like a queen. I'm gonna suck on her toes all the time, give her massages, rub on her butt and her back. You gotta do things like that. You gotta do those things anyway. But if she's breaking in on the money, working and not working, she's gonna get a little more because I'd be dang gone for let somebody else take that. And it's not because of the money alone, but it's just because when you're with somebody, and when you know that they're a good person, it's hard to find good people out here, man. I'm telling y'all, I was in that, man. It's hard. I'm just gonna put it like that. The dating pool isn't what it used to be. I don't know what it used to be, but it's not fun out there. You know, it may be fun for a little bit, but it ain't fun. So when you find somebody good, you better stick with them, regardless if they're the breadwinner or not. But if they are the breadwinner, fellas, if the ladies are the breadwinner, make sure you know how to take care of them. And just be positive and bring, positivity and just show that you're trying, because not all of us will make a lot of money. Not all of us are able to make a lot of money. A lot of people got circumstances that prevent them from making a lot of money, but they don't prevent you to being a great partner. So it's just funny, ladies. I like to hear, how you all feel, and I love to hear honesty of how you all feel in situations that happens today. We all know, like today, there's a lot of weak men out there. There's a lot of weak women out there too, but I'm talking from a man's perspective. There's a lot of weak men out there. Men can't do things that men should be able to do. Simple things like taking care of outside. Well, I don't like taking care of the outside of the house, but if I really had to, I hire somebody now. But if I had to, I would. Some men don't know how to do that. Some men don't know how to change tires. Some men don't know how to pump gas. Men, if you're in a car with your woman, breadwinner or not, she should not be pumping the gas. I'm sorry. That's like the wackest stuff ever. If you got a flat tire, your woman should not be changing the tire. And it's ridiculous how many men don't know how to change tires, change the oil in their car, change their brake pads. Just simple stuff that takes maybe 30 minutes. Man, we got to get better. So, ladies, you have every right to feel how you feel. Men, we got to step our games up, bros. We have to. I know there's a lot of things, a lot of people that feels that, I ain't got to get my hands dirty. But, man, we have to get our hands dirty. We got to, all right? Let's get into this question about breadwinners. So several days ago, I posted on my Facebook the same question. If one person is a breadwinner, makes the most money in parentheses, what's the expectation of the person? And there were so many different responses. And I think the responses are really balanced. I really like them. I like the interaction. I like the people that's going back and forth with each other. I dislike the unrealness because I know some of these comments aren't real, but I like the realness. I really like the realness. So my perspective is, it's kind of different. So I've always grown up to be, my dad taught me, growing up seeing my dad being a man in the house, it always put me in a situation where I've always said I'm going to be a provider. And when I say I'm going to be a provider, I don't mean that I'm only going to find women that make less than me and things like that. No, I'm saying is I'm always going to ensure that the house is taken care of. When I'm in a relationship, I'm always going to make sure my woman is taken care of, my kids are taken care of, and things like that. But I try to do that in a way that, because there's a fine line. So I try to do it in a way where it don't seem like I'm controlling. Because one of the biggest things about being a breadwinner is you got to balance yourself so you don't control. Meaning, I think about the future. I think about it now, but I think about the future a lot. So when it comes to spending, I'm really I think about spending because I always think, what if something happens in the future? Who can I depend on? Who can we depend on as a family? And I don't like going out asking other people for stuff. So I'm always thinking about it. So and this is not me as just being a breadwinner, but as a man of the house, I always think about how I can set my family up for success. When it comes to being the breadwinner, my expectation of my partner or my woman, I'm going to use my woman because, when I say partner, that sounds kind of sketchy. But my expectation of my woman is really no expectation. And when I say no expectation, I don't expect her to cook every night. I don't expect her to clean every day. I don't expect her to be a maid. I don't expect any of that stuff. Most of the time, women these days, they work. But even if she didn't work, it's just one of those things where my expectation would be just basically for her to be my partner. I'm still going to help cook. I'm still going to help clean. I'm not going to sit around and say, oh, because I work and I bring in all the money or most of the money, I'm not gonna clean. I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, a lot of women I know, from a man's perspective, a lot of good women that bring in less or don't work, they will go and like make sure the house is clean, cook dinner, do things like that, wash the clothes. But us as the men, we also have to step in and help them out, regardless of the situation. So I believe relationships or partnerships, and partnerships means everybody go in together. And I also believe that as the breadwinner, they don't make me no more better, that don't make sense. That don't make me better than a person that's bringing in less. We're in that 50-50, so I can be bringing in the most, she can be bringing in the most. We're in a relationship together. Whatever I have, she have. Whatever she have, I have. So I'm not gonna be like, because I make more money, we're gonna do this. No, that's not gonna happen. It's gonna be like, okay, the money's gonna go into together in the account, make sure the bills doesn't get paid. I'm gonna get an allowance, she's gonna get an allowance. And guess what? The allowance is gonna be the same amount. If I spend all my money, I gotta be like, babe, I spent my money, I need some extra money. Can I have some extra money? If she said no, I gotta suck it up. Most likely I'm gonna try to persuade her to give me some more. If she said yes, good. And vice versa. So from my perspective, my expectation of the other person is pretty much equal. But I got some good responses, and I'm gonna read a couple of them. My boy GQ said to assist as needed, which makes sense, fill in for the gaps. One of the funny ones I saw came from my boy Chris Houston. He said, if a man ain't the breadwinner, he better get to grinding because he's going to be replaced soon. That goes to my next question. He had some responses. One woman said, Tony, she said, speaking for me only, that's not true. And then Chris said, I'm speaking in generalities. Women don't date or marry down. And if they do, it's not for long. Which that makes sense. I don't know many women that want to date down or marry down. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because I know many women that make more money than their man. But, if that man's sitting around being lazy, that ain't gonna work. Or it may be a agreement that, okay, he's gonna be like the house guy, but at the end of the day, he still has to go and do something to show that, hey, I'm trying. I'm gonna make some money. I may not make as much as you, but I'm gonna contribute to the household. So I agree with that, Chris. Michael Lowell, I went to school with him. He said there's no breadwinner when you're a team. When you're married, it is not a competition, and if it is, then you are married to the wrong person. I totally agree. One of the things that I truly dislike is an independent person. And when I say independent person, it's okay to be independent, but when you're in a relationship and you're not allowing that person to help you because you want to be so independent, you want to do everything yourself, I think deep inside that's saying, do you really want to be in a relationship? Because when you're in a relationship with somebody, it should be you two working together to make each other better, make your family successful, make your household successful. Not, I do this more and I do that more. So I think that's a great answer, Mike. Let me see. Kika Green said, I believe you should come together as one. Depends on the dynamic in the relationship. Let me see. Yolanda said, you better play that tambourine like Chris Rock said. Oh, man. My boy Rodney, Rodney, he's from my hometown. I know he went to the military. He said, like an OG told me, it's cool to be the breadwinner as long as you got someone to make the toast. And that's ambiguous. Teamwork makes the dream work. And that makes sense. Like, as a breadwinner, it doesn't always mean you're good at everything. It just means you make more money. That's it. So you need a partner to balance you out. So while you may be got all the degrees and all the jobs and all the accolades and all that things like that, that don't mean you're good at taking care of the house. So that's where she comes in. 50-50 balance, teamwork. So Rodney, that was a good answer. This is a long one from Ebony Bird. I've been on both sides, as in having him be the sole provider and as having him make more money. We've always had an understanding regarding how we move. It's not his or mine, it's ours for our family. We work as a team to make sure we are all good, never one-sided. Also, as he was the sole provider, it allowed me to dabble in my hobbies that gave me the opportunity to make money. So at the end of the day, we both were still bringing in the money and doing what we need to do, which I totally agree. It's all about the teamwork. So I know a lot of people said a lot of things. I know there was a lot of different responses. Tawana Knox, my cousin, she said to be grateful. Quentin, he said to be the creator. Kiki said help when they can. Make sure that the breadwinner treats them like a person and not like property. Bingo. You can't treat, if you're the breadwinner, you can't treat the other person like property. And number two, if you're not the breadwinner, do not feel guilty because the other person is bringing in most of the money. That's a bad way to look at it. We should always go into a relationship as we're 50-50, we're even. You know, of course, the man is a man, the woman is the woman. We know all that, the dynamics, we know all that stuff. I don't believe in gender roles personally, but some believe in gender roles. It's all about your relationship and how you and your partner, you know, how y'all set expectations. But at the end of the day, no one is better than anyone, regardless of who brings in the more money, who brings in the less money. All right, y'all. So we're coming to the end of this podcast, the end of this episode. This is my 4th episode, y'all. And I'm about to go out of town, so that's why I did it today. I may not make another podcast for several days, but y'all be good, be blessed, and remember, life is what you make it. Until next time, peace.